What's up YouTube, STIPE here, and today I'm doing a video on the 2500s and 3500 diesel pickup trucks, specifically the Cummins motor I am going to be talking about, and what makes this motor so special, and why buying a 2500 with the Cummins turbo diesel or a 3500, any of the Ram trucks with the Cummins turbo diesel, why it is actually very beneficial to you buying it. So I'm going to start off with the number one reason actually, and that is the reputation that this motor company actually has. And the way you know it is a Cummins turbo diesel is usually on the side you will have a big Cummins turbo diesel badge. The older trucks used to say, actually spell it, you wouldn't actually see the C, but usually it does have a badge there right next to the 2500 that lets you know that it is a Cummins turbo diesel. Now, it is only available in the 2500s and the 3500s. The reputation for these trucks with this diesel is extremely high. There's actually a 1,000,000-mile club named after it. And actually, I myself own a 1996 12-valve Cummins turbo diesel. If you're familiar with diesel trucks, you know that it's actually considered the king of all diesel trucks, and I will argue with anybody on that if they can tell me that there was ever a truck with a better diesel motor, because there wasn't. And guess what? The company that made that diesel is the same one that is making the 6.7 Cummins turbo diesel now, and it is an extremely reliable diesel motor. Now, this 6.7, in my opinion, is actually probably the runner up to the 12-valve, the old 5.9 12-valve. The 24 valves were okay, but they weren't as good as the 12-valve, and I find that this 6.7 is a little bit more reliable and a little bit more durable. Just the longevity of the motor, I can see getting a little bit more power out of it too. And a huge bonus to this motor is how well it holds its value. Now, any Cummins turbo diesel will hold its value. Almost any diesel truck will hold its value, to be honest. Most diesel cars are a little bit more considered, how would I say, valuable, due to the fact that diesel motors do tend to last longer if they are built right. And guess what? This is a truck that actually has a diesel motor that is for sure built right. So when we're talking about a truck like this, there's the Power Stroke that it competes with, which is Ford's diesel. Then you have the Duramax diesels, which are also great. And you know, typically it goes, you know, you got Cummins and Duramax, and you've got the Power Stroke. So the Power Strokes are don't have the greatest reputation, and rightfully so. There's just been too many cases of people who have problems with them and things like that. My uncle has one. He's actually been pretty good with his, but his has only got about 265,000 kilometers on it. And if you know anything about these trucks, is that 265 to a truck like this is absolutely nothing. That's probably a quarter of its life. It should be a quarter of its life, or at least 1/3. And I mean, if that is the point of where your diesel motor is having problems, then you probably came across a bad one, unfortunately, or just that diesel motor was never very good. So value holds its value extremely well. If you're thinking about buying the Cummins, probably the best out of all of the diesel trucks, it will hold its value. The Duramax is pretty damn close, but as the higher kilometers you see on these trucks, they're still worth a lot of money. So is it worth to buy a used one? Depends. Personally, I don't think so, due to the fact that the difference in money is not that much. And yeah, okay, 140,000 kilometers to a truck like this isn't much. It still means that someone sat in that truck for 140,000 kilometers. So you're probably better off going with a new one. But again, it varies, right? I mean, if you come across a really good used deal, go for it. Another thing, obviously make sure there's no accidents if you are looking for a used one. But these are just some simple points on what makes this truck so special. And I mean, if you are considering to buy any diesel truck, you're pulling or anything like that, go with this. Especially if you're pulling, go with the 3500. I recommend it just because of the leaf suspension. The 2500s have coil suspension, which I'm not a huge fan of, but if you're definitely pulling, go with the 3500. If you're pulling something really heavy, obviously go with the dually. But I mean, that goes for pretty much any of the trucks. I mean, if you're going with a Ford or even a Chevy, go with the dually for sure if you're pulling heavy amounts. Do not buy a gas motor if you're pulling a huge thing. Yes, it can do it, but the longevity of that motor, and it will just not be able to do it for a long time. It will get tired, you will have problems, as opposed to the diesel, it will keep running forever. I know that our 6.4 is a great motor, but our Hemis are pretty great, but the thing is that they're just not, in my opinion, good enough for the longevity of, you know, pulling. And if you are planning to keep a truck for quite some time, definitely this is the way to go. If you are thinking about a daily driver, this truck is a great daily driver. Yeah, it's big, but you know what? It's really not that much bigger than any, let's say, 2500 or any 1500. The length, you can actually get this exact same length on a 1500. So really, it's not that big of a difference. If you are getting an 8-foot box or a mega cab, that's a little bit different because they are pretty long trucks then. But you can definitely daily drive one of these. My Cummins turbo diesel, the 96, was the biggest cab you could get with an 8-foot box. It's probably about the same length as this truck here, which is the crew cab with the 6.4 box. And I have no problems at all daily driving this a truck this size. And I mean, if you are, you know, considering, like right now, this truck here and this truck here side by side, they're actually the same price. Personally, I mean, this is my opinion, I would go for the 2018, you know, Cummins turbo diesel over the Hemi Sport 2019 here. And I mean, that's just my opinion. You know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and I think that, I mean, I'm a little bit favoritized to the Cummins motor just because I have one and I know how great they are. And I do like to keep my vehicles for quite some time. And I mean, I want something that's reliable every day in and out, and I know it's never gonna fail me eventually. The Hemi, you'll probably get around a good 300,000 kilometers out of that motor if you drive it and take care of it normally, which is great too for a gas motor. But really, these new V8s, the LS motors and the Hemis, really none of them really push past 300 anymore very confidently, like the old you know, the small block Chevys and the small block Fords and the small block Mopars too. They were all pretty great motors back then, and pushing it past 350 was considered actually pretty normal back then. But now people don't even keep their cars to even see 300. Most cars get scrapped at like 250 now out of these newer cars. It's just because there's so much technology and stuff in these vehicles that starts to, you know, crap out eventually, and you just don't get the you know, the full longevity of that car as it should be. And yeah, I mean, there are mechanics now that will tell you, you know, these cars are designed better and all that. They are, but they're designed better for the customer's convenience. I don't really necessarily believe that they're designed to last longer. I don't think that's the case. I believe that I don't also think that they're designed to last shorter. I just don't think that their thought anymore is that people are going to keep this car for 8 to 10 years. It's just not going to happen. I mean, working at a dealer, I know that people are flipping their cars constantly, you know, like 3-4 years is the average, even shorter sometimes. We have customers that will flip every season, and it's crazy. It really is. Unfortunately, not a lot of people keep their vehicle, but I know if you're buying a truck like this 2500, you're probably going to be pulling for quite some time with something, or using it for construction, probably using it for actual pickup truck standards, and you're probably going to keep it for quite some time. If you are planning to have a daily driver even for longer than 6 years, I recommend going for this truck. Just from experience in our service department and everything, the car that I least see with problems coming in is these Cummins turbo diesels. We have the least problems with them, and rightfully so. It should be that way. That's the whole reason of the reputation of these trucks. And that's my video for today, guys. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. If you have any more questions, please comment down below, and even give me some video ideas. I'll try and get some videos out there for you guys, and I'll be back with more videos. Thanks.